How the Sparrow Learned Its Song by Shannon Jackson, Ari Kwiatkowski, and Ashley Chase. Narrated by Mr. Puglisi. How the Sparrow Learned Its Song. Traits you didn't have when you were born. You are born with certain traits, like a pointy chin or dark eyes and hair. Those are traits you inherited from your birth parents. Some traits are different, though. Some traits come from your environment. Your environment is everything around you. It's the place where you live, the food you eat, the things you see, and the people you meet. When you interact with your environment, you may get new traits. You can get traits from things you do and things that happen to you. For example, you may play sports and build up your muscles. You may have a scar from a bad cut. You were not born with a scar or big muscles. These traits come from the way you interacted with your environment. You can learn things from your environment. 2. You were not born knowing how to read. That's something you had to learn. You may learn how to bake a pie, fix a bike, or play a song. Traits like these are determined by your environment. In this book, we'll look at how different organisms, like you, the organism in this book, have all interacted with their environments. Something happened to them, or they will learn something new. The environment helped determine their traits. How the Sparrow Learned Its Song. This bird is a song sparrow. It is singing a song with many different notes. The sparrow hatched with the ability to sing. However, it did not hatch knowing how to sing this particular song. The sparrow had to learn the notes of its song. When it was young, the song sparrow listened to the adult sparrows singing in its environment. The young sparrow tried to copy their songs. As the song sparrow grew older, it kept practicing. After some time, the young sparrow's song became more and more like the songs of the adults in its environment. That's how the sparrow learned its song. The trait was determined by the sparrow's environment. If you travel around and listen closely, you can find variation in sparrow songs. That's because song sparrows learn their songs from other birds in their environment. Song sparrows that grow up in different environments learn different songs. The story of the crab with his spiky shell. This is a decorator crab. Look at the sharp spikes pointing up from its shell. The crab did not hatch with spikes on its shell. How did the crab get them? It picked up a spiky sea urchin and put the sea urchin on its shell. Now the spikes help hide and protect the crab. All decorator crabs decorate their shells. However, this is a variation in the decorations that different crabs have. Not all decorator crabs end up with spikes. Decorator crabs use whatever decorations they find in their environment. A crab's environment determines its trait. Some crabs decorate their shell with sea sponges. Others use coral or seaweed. Since the decorations come from the environment, they help the decorator crab blend in and hide. The spiky crab didn't pass on its spikes to its offspring. The crab's offspring will find their own decorations in their environment. The offspring may look very different from the crab with the spiky shell. The grizzly bear can catch a fish in its mouth. That isn't easy to do. The bear has to be in just the right spot. It waits for a fish to leap, then grabs it. The bear wasn't born knowing how to catch fish this way. It had to learn to fish. When the bear was a young cub, it watched adult bears catching fish. As it got older, it started trying to fish for itself. Over time, it learned to catch fish in its mouth. Not all grizzly bears catch fish in this style. Some grizzlies jump up into the water to catch fish. Others sit in the water and wait for fish to swim by. Fishing style is something a young bear has to learn from other bears in its environment. Bears that grow up in different environments may learn different fishing styles. Bears show variation in this trait. The story of the monkey who cried leopard. Have you ever heard of the saying, "There's safety in numbers"? Vervet monkeys live in big groups. Living in a group helps the monkeys stay safe. The vervet monkey is yelling an alarm call to its group. The call means, "Watch out for leopards." When other monkeys hear this call, they know to run high up a tree. Different calls tell the group to hide from different predators. If a monkey makes a different call, the group might hide under a bush instead. This monkey wasn't born knowing the different alarm calls. The monkey learned the calls by listening to other monkeys in its group. The monkey got this trait by interacting with its environment. If this monkey has offspring, they won't be born knowing the alarm calls either. Just like their parents, the monkey's offspring will have to learn how to make the right alarm call. How the redwood tree grew so tall. This redwood tree is tall, more than 100 meters. To get this tall, the redwood tree needed help from its environment. This redwood tree sprouted in an environment that had everything the tree needed. It got lots of sunlight, nutrients, and water, so the tree grew to its full height. That doesn't always happen. If a redwood tree sprouts in an environment where it doesn't get enough light, nutrients, or water, the tree will never grow as tall as this one. However, that's not the whole story. Redwoods are the tallest trees on Earth. Most kinds of trees can never grow as tall as this redwood, no matter how much sunlight, water, and nutrients they get. To get this tall, the redwood tree also has to inherit the ability to grow this tall. Redwoods inherit that ability from their parents. So did the redwood tree's height come from inheritance or from the environment? Actually, it came from both. This trait came from inheritance and also the environment. Traits are often a combination. In the last example, we saw that the height of a redwood tree is a combination of inheritance and environment. No matter what environment it grows in, a dogwood tree will never grow as tall as a redwood tree. The dogwood tree didn't inherit the ability to grow that tall. Many traits in many different organisms are combinations like this one. These traits that come from inheritance and interacting with the environment. We started this book with the sparrow's song. A sparrow's environment determines the particular song it sings. Still, inheritance is part of the story too. Some parts of the sparrow's song are inherited, like the type of notes it can sing. Other organisms, like bears, can't inherit that ability. No matter how hard it practiced, a bear could never learn to sing like a sparrow. This has been a reading of How the Sparrow Got Its Song, narrated by Mr. Puglisi, in the unit Blue Whales and Buttercups, Books for Inheritance and Treats. If you have finished this recording, please message Mr. Puglisi on Google Classroom and tell him one trait that you learned from your environment. That is, one thing that you learned how to do since you were born that you didn't know how to do when you were born. Have a good day.